Federal law enforcement is sounding the alarm over a dangerous rise in illegal gun trafficking around the country and here in Idaho. The U.S. Attorney for Idaho says he's seeing trends in newer crimes like 3D printing gun parts at home and an increase in firearms from Idaho being traded for drugs from California and Mexico. Morgan Romero talked to federal officials about the risk these crimes pose to our community and law enforcement. We want to warn you, this story contains the sound of gunfire.
A Twin Falls man is headed to prison for illegally having guns and Glock switches. Court records show Ryan was buying items including silencers and switches and then selling them to people in California with ties to drug cartels.
For the first time in Idaho.
Yeah, all this was from Mr. Ryan.
A federal judge sentenced a man to prison this spring for trafficking illegal guns made with machine gun conversion devices.
This particular firearm here is a Glock pistol, which has a machine gun conversion device. So you can go from semi-automatic to fully automatic.
It's really scary because the individual firing that weapon has less control than normal and essentially is just spraying bullets every which way. It's illegal to possess these, and they're not just for handguns. There's also what are called auto sears, which are used with the AR-15 platform.
The U.S. Attorney for Idaho and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, say they're trying to get ahead of a troubling increase in newer crimes.
Technology leads the way.
Like Glock switches and auto sears.
That is, quite frankly, a problem that the federal government has been behind on.
Is that a tough one to go after?
It's something that's a little bit new. They can be 3D printed, so it's really challenging to get a hold of this problem.
The ATF calls Idaho a source state for firearms. We have a strong hunting and outdoor culture, and we're gun-friendly.
So I think the criminal element understands that there are lots of opportunities to acquire firearms.
It's too easy compared to other states.
Individuals are illegally trafficking firearms out of Idaho, and it's generally going south to places like California, where it might even get into Mexico and into the hands of cartels. And as part of that trafficking, drugs are coming up, and often we've seen drugs being exchanged for firearms.
That's what Idaho's U.S. Attorney Josh Hurwitz says happened in an eastern Idaho case.
A California man and 2 women from Idaho have been sent to prison for trafficking meth and guns in the gem state.
4 people were sent to federal prison last year for importing and supplying drugs in exchange for firearms, bought through a network of straw purchasers.
ATF estimates in this case that 250 firearms went from Idaho down to California and to people associated with the cartels.
Straw purchasing is when someone who is legally allowed to have guns knowingly buys them for someone who is not allowed to have guns.
There is no markings, obviously, as you can see on this firearm. There's no serial number, there's no make, model, caliber, no nothing.
Law enforcement says they're also seeing a rise in people prohibited from having guns turning to ghost guns and using them in other crimes.
These are privately made firearms, commonly known as ghost guns.
Firearms without a serial number, built with pieces from a kit or separate parts ordered online.
It is a hindrance to law enforcement.
The federal government and the FBI and the ATF don't have a registration list of all the firearms and who possesses them and where they're purchased, but there are serial numbers on firearms that are lawfully made so that if there is a crime, it can be tracked and can assist in the investigation.
While it's legal to build your own firearm, it's illegal federally to sell ghost guns without a serial number.
Can't trace the gun, so we don't know where it comes from, who originally purchased it, who originally manufactured it.
Ghost guns are attractive to criminals for that reason, is that they're much harder to trace.
The U.S. Attorney's Office leans on partnerships with not only the ATF, but local law enforcement to get illegal ghost guns, Glock switches, and straw purchasers off the street.
Certainly want to put our foot on the gas and do more of these cases.
But along with enforcement,
there are things we can do in terms of awareness.
Federal officials say we all need to watch for red flags and report any concerns.
Idahoans lawfully possess and use firearms, and that's not what this is about. This is about keeping firearms from reaching the hands of violent criminals.
The Biden-Harris administration established a rule in 2022 clarifying that all ghost gun kits and some parts are required to be sold by a licensed dealer and subject to a background check and have serial numbers. Several states created more restrictive gun laws surrounding ghost guns. In particular, just this month, a law went into effect in Oregon, banning them. Last year, Oregon outlawed the sale, transfer, and import firearms without serial numbers, as well as the possession, sale, and manufacturing of firearms that can't be detected by a metal detector or X-ray.